Доброго дня.
Good afternoon. We are glad to see you today. And before I'll pass to the main part of our presentation, I would like to thank all those who helped us to implement these projects on various stages. Because this is thanks to this support, the project Displaced 12 Stories from Ukraine was put in practice. The project was initiated by the British Embassy and the British Council in Ukraine. And now I give the floor to Stephen Loyster, advisor on humanitarian issues of the British Embassy in Kyiv.
I'll start off just by saying thank you for coming today, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real pleasure to join you today here at the Ukraine Crisis Media Center. I came actually a little earlier than usual to actually see some of the materials we've got around here that complement the photo exhibition. And I think it's worthwhile to say that when I came to Ukraine about 10 months ago, one of the first events or activities I was introduced to was the photo exhibition that brought us here today, Displaced, 12 Stories from Ukraine. It was a warm spring day, and at the warehouse where these large photos and narrative storyboards were being stored, I mean, they were a little dusty, in need of a little repair work. And although the exhibition wasn't, at that time as I knew it, part of my job or something I was expecting, I was curious about it. I mean, if only in sort of my first week here in Kyiv was an excuse to get out of the office and explore some of the city. But when seeing the images and reading the words, I was quickly impressed and felt a real connection to Ukraine and its people. So on behalf of the embassy, on behalf of myself, of course, we're extremely proud of the reach that the photo exhibition has been able to achieve since the autumn of 2015, with a lot of work from Stabilization Support Services. Some of the staff are here with us today. They're partners in a lot of different places. Our communication staff, and of course the Ukrainian photographer Sergei Sarakanov and writer Tata Kepler. The exhibition began at St. Sophia's Square with opening words by our former Minister of State for International Development at the time. And I think the good public reception it received encouraged its travel among other cities that included Rivne, Lutsk, Ivano-Frankivsk, Lviv, Zaporizhia, Dnipro, and Odessa. So quite a list already of places that it went to. Now, as maybe a lot of you know that saw the exhibition in different places or visited online, it's a series of portraits that focused on people leaving their homes due to the conflict in the Donbass region and annexation of Crimea, having to rebuild their lives in a new environment. And the stories, and I still remember reading them on that day in the warehouse, are highly personal ones. And I think what's quite notable about them is they really spark an understanding about the challenges that people internally displaced face across the country. But they also convey the importance of community and accepting diversity. And so the stories, therefore, I think they're ones of hope, of togetherness, and a belief in a positive shared future. And that spirit, I think, helped the exhibition resonate among people across Ukraine and really propelled it to a diverse audience abroad. First at Brussels, then in London in early 2016, and then combined with Twitter and Facebook pages revealing each step of the tour. It went on to Berlin in November, followed by Rome, The Hague, Paris, Warsaw, and then finally at the Council of Europe in Strasbourg, where it had its last public viewing in February, so just barely a month ago. So it's been quite a tour, and now we're considering where to find a permanent home for the exhibition. So in that sense, the work isn't quite done yet, but I really think it is a time to hail all that's been accomplished, and that's been seen over the last year and a half and seen by the people involved more intimately over the last 3 years. So thank you for joining us for this special day that's celebrating the people of Ukraine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. Фотовиставка Displaced 12.
The photo exhibition Displaced 12 Stories from Ukraine was a very important, very difficult project for all our team, because for us it was we should have completed several tasks. The first is to inform the international community in a correct way about the events in Ukraine. The second objective was to show the personal side of the conflict. We would like to show personal stories of the people, because it is hard to feel compassion to a person about whom you know nothing. And our third objective was to distinguish, to show difference between Ukrainian internally displaced persons, IDPs, and refugees from the Middle East, because there are manipulations on these issues. Our main target auditory was the international community, diplomats, journalists, opinion makers, as well as activists. And since November 2016, March 2017, this exhibition visited 6 cities. It was also presented in Warsaw in the beginning of March. In all these cities, the exhibition was situated in the central part of the city. That's why it was rather visible for all the people. People were interested in it. They were coming up, asking questions. At each exhibition, there were volunteers ready to answer visitors' questions, and they could explain several details. We also are very glad that that there was a lot of reaction in the Council of Europe. After presentation of this exhibition, we had 50 representatives of foreign delegations. Among them, there were diplomats, politicians, and activists, both from France and from abroad. During this presentation in Strasbourg, took place on the 3rd anniversary of Crimea annexation, and the presence of these stories there on that day was very important for us, for Ukraine's image on the international area. And when we started organizing these exhibitions, we believed that we are trying to deal with like a formed vision about Ukraine in the conscience of Europeans, but many people have not complete understanding about events that are going on in Ukraine, and this creates danger, because in our information space, the style and the manner how the information is provided can define how a state will be perceived, how a society will be perceived. This is very important. And now I would like to give the floor to one of the heroes of characters of our exhibition. This is Esat Alimov. He was presenting the exhibition in The Hague. He is one of the heroes, and I give the floor to you. Good afternoon. My name is Alimov Esat. I'm one of those people who had to leave their homes following the events which happened in February 2014. I had to leave my homeland, Crimea, and to move to Kiev. I had the honor to be participant of this exhibition, Displaced, 12 Stories from Ukraine. And I think this exhibition has shown to all Ukraine and all the Europe my story and stories of other people. First of all, I would like to thank the British Embassy in Kiev and to Stabilization Support Services and all the people who participated in organization of this exhibition. And thanks to Tatia Kepler, who was writing down my story, and to the photographs, Sergei. And also, I had the honor to be present during the presentation of this exhibition in Hague. Thank you for this experience. It was a great honor for me to open this exhibition. Now, looking behind, I can say that during this exhibition, when I was talking to people, I had an impression that people in the Netherlands are not really aware about the situation in Ukraine, especially the situation with the IDPs. And also I had an impression that after this exhibition, after having talked to me, after having read these stories, people knew more and they had already better understanding of the situation. And also when I was talking to local mass media, journalists seemed to be surprised to hear the story that I was telling, story about my life from the period when Russian intervention started, when I had to leave my home. They were surprised to hear that there were repressions against supporters of Ukraine, that there were Crimean Tatars who were missing, about repressions. They were very surprised to hear that, as if they were hearing this for the first time. About the positive moments, I think this exhibition has had a very positive impact on how the Europe sees situation in Ukraine. And I met Alet Stelman from the Netherlands, a very pleasant woman. It turned out that she has been to Crimea in 2004 in Genkoy. It was a period of elections, exactly on the year of the Orange Revolution in Kiev. She was there as monitor. And now she is very concerned about what is going on there, and she expressed her sincere support to all Ukrainians and everyone who had to leave their homes, their cities. And I hope once she will be able to come back to Crimea when it will be Ukrainian Crimea again. And after this exhibition, when I was already here in Ukraine, I saw new people coming up in the Facebook and writing words of support to me. They were telling about their compassion and were wishing us good luck, to me and all the Ukrainians. What else I can add? I hope that my story and my experience during these 3 years, in the moment when I left my home, have shown the main message of this exhibition to the European community, that we should unite around the main democratic values that are uniting us now. Thank you. And now I would like to give the floor to Olena Lutsenko. She has been with us during the presentation of the exhibition in the Council of Europe in Strasbourg, and the floor is yours. Good afternoon, my name is Olena. In spring 2014, when it was not war yet, but we saw active preparation to all this, I was working in Donetsk. I was living in Makeyevka with all my family. We decided to move to Kyiv in September 2015. Why we decided so? In fact, we couldn't stay there anymore because of the events that were going on in Donetsk and in all that area, because they were occupied by people who do not share the same opinion as I do about the future, our future. I was at the exhibition in Strasbourg, and for me, it was a great honor to receive an invitation to this exhibition, and I felt a very big responsibility when I received this invitation, because I'm talking not only about my personal story, I was talking also as a representative of Ukraine, and I understood that this is very serious, very important. In the airport, when we were on our way from Kyiv to France, when I was passing passport control, customs officer asked me a very standard question: the purpose of your visit. Because of the reason that I'm not very good in foreign languages, a person who was going with, who accompanied me, explained him what was going on, and it was very strange for me to hear that this customs officer was from Bosnia, and once he has been witness to an armed conflict in the Balkans, and he transformed from a strict official to a person who tried to encourage me through my companion and through the tone of his voice, how he understands my problem, how he understands what experience I have had. And he wished us to overcome this challenge. He wished that the conflict would be finally over. And on that very moment, standing in the airport in front of this customs officer, I had a kind of understanding that it is extremely important when simply people, that ordinary people, ordinary Europeans express condolences and understanding. And if there will be more such people who understand what is going on, they will be able to influence the position of decision makers. Because democracy is made by people's opinion, and I believe this is very important. We need such projects as Displaced stories from Ukraine, because it shows not only personal stories, it shows also the stories of the story of our state. This story will be written down in the books. We are participants of this story at the moment, and this exhibition is also a contribution to this future written story. And I'm very grateful to these people for their compassion, and I'm very glad that people now have more understanding what is going on.
Thank you, Olena.
Ми би хотіли звернутися.
We would like to show to you several pictures about how this exhibition was presented in Warsaw.
І тепер ми би хотіли надати слово
Now we would like to give the floor to Ms. Sobolewska, and she was local coordinator in Warsaw.
Yes, I can hear you. I'm with you all the time. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm calling you from Warsaw, and we had very fresh impressions. We just wrapped up the exhibition 2 days ago and sent it back to Kiev. And I'm still getting a lot of comments and impressions and questions about the exhibition. So it's really still with me. And I'm not a person of Ukrainian origin myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I see it both as a difficulty and a sort of advantage in the process of organizing this exhibition in Warsaw, because I had an outreach to different kind of organizations, to organizations that are Polish ones, and were helping me in spreading this information. And I also had an outreach to Ukrainian organizations or organizations working in the field of the solidarity between our countries. And I got help from many of those places with spreading the information, sharing that in their newsletters, sharing that with their employees, sharing that on their pages and on their social media channels. What I really appreciate, my impressions from the period of the exhibition in Warsaw, is that I received many comments, both from people that I know and both from people that I don't know, some visitors that I had a chance to meet. And they were sharing with me their emotional journey, how they perceived the exhibition, how it helped them to change their views, to expand their knowledge about the conflict, about the people who are affected by this conflict. And these were persons not really that had really big knowledge about international relations, not really big knowledge about the conflict. So the exhibition certainly helped them to expand it, and I saw the visitors who were just very visibly moved by the stories, by what they have seen. And I think that such ideas to share this information, withholding or sharing the information can really change the balance in politics. So in my opinion, it's just essential to just bring this information further, to share this and give the voice to internally displaced people. So I'm really thankful to British Embassy in Kiev and to the Stabilization Support Services for this tremendous effort and for allowing us, people in different countries, to learn those stories and to learn about the personal side of the conflict. I would also like to say something about the organizational process here in Warsaw. So I can say that we really got support from the city of Warsaw. They shared with us basically the biggest square in the city, and they gave it to us basically right away, and they expressed their support to the idea, and we also had the support of the cultural institution who is managing this place, and people who were attending the opening event. These were people from the Chancellery of the President, members of Parliament. We had also these people sharing the information. We had Polish ombudsman sharing the information. So we also get a support from organizations and politicians in the process.
Thank you a lot. Does anyone have questions to our local coordinator?
I have also one more thing I'd like to share. So, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I also would like to share that there is a need and a will to learn more about the internally displaced persons, and this was expressed to me, and also I get requests from smaller cities in Poland, so that the exhibition could be brought not just to the capital cities, but to give a chance to other communities to see this exhibition as well. So I have to say that the feedback was really positive, not just in the capital city, but it was coming also from some smaller areas that would also like to know more and to learn these stories.
Thank you a lot. We will continue now to the media indicators. Для того, щоб всі
in order that everyone could get information how this exhibition is going on and about IDPs, our team created pages on Facebook and Twitter. And according to the statistics, you may see these pages on the screen. We calculated the unique users, and we may say that it is really impressive. And the main phase of the project is over. We still have users who like our pages. So as of now, we have about 200,000 viewers, those users who liked our materials. And we had done 100 media reports in different languages, including those countries that were not in on the agenda. Also, we got the request from the Spanish journalists. They were really interested in exhibition. They wanted to see it, and they created a wonderful material about our exhibition in Rome. And they really wanted to draw attention to this exhibition. Also, in the exhibition didn't envisage that the viewers would provide their opinion. That's why we created special cards, and everyone could express their opinion on these cards, and everyone could share their opinion on this, and people were provided with this, and we got more than 400 cards with letters of support, and we present the best cards in this hall, and we will have these downloaded with translation in order that Ukrainian community could get a feedback about the events in Ukraine and about the impressions of Europeans from this exhibition process. I would like to thank once again everyone who is present here today, and I would like to ask whether you have questions about our project. Do you have questions, dear colleagues?
В такому випадку
In such a case, I would like to thank once again, and I would like to say goodbye. We have our pages that are still active on Facebook, and you can find us on Twitter. You can see the materials that we placed there. And till the next time, and goodbye.